I am all for retelling classics, and I have no problem that this story is in Maleficent's point of view. The good things about this film is Angelina Jolie's performance, her makeup, and her costumes. I liked the special effects of this film, particularly the Moors and how that was filmed and the lighting and the effects of that, and I enjoyed the relationship between Dejval, which is the crow, because I know I'm not saying the character's name right, and Maleficent. The pacing of this film I felt was off because it time jumped too quickly, and because of that I felt like I couldn't really grab on to the characters and care about them. To put it simply, I felt like there was no heart in these characters and there was no character development. The only character that has the slightest character development is Maleficent. And even though Angelina Jolie does a good job at embodying this character, I still felt like it was a bit lacking for me to care about Maleficent. The biggest problem I had with this film was the narration and the fairies. First, the narration. The narration tells the audience what's going on instead of showing it. And throughout my film studies at AAU, especially screenwriters, are encouraged to show instead of telling through dialogue. Instead of someone telling you a story, wouldn't you rather want to watch it and feel emotion through the characters' emotions and feel their pain instead of someone just saying, oh, this one thing's happening to this person, instead of seeing the character weep and cry, which really it's more effective that way, to see characters go through pain instead of a narrator saying what the character is thinking. As for the three fairies, I did not like how they were designed or how they were written. Their heads were too big. It just didn't look right and it didn't feel right. Their dialogue, it was supposed to be comedic relief. It wasn't, even though if it was supposed to be comedy for the kids, it wasn't. Maybe in the original story, not the Disney's, maybe the fairy names are different, but I don't know why in Maleficent they didn't just stick with Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. Those are way better names than Thistle, Weed, and what other names they came up with. I don't know why they decided to change the names instead of just keeping it as the Disney animated ones. I don't know. If this movie really wanted to go on the more darker side of things, they might as well have called it Stefan. I understand that Maleficent is the child character, therefore she is painted as the protagonist of this feature. So they had to come up with an antagonist instead of keeping Maleficent as an antagonist as she should have been kept, if that makes sense. Stefan is not even a good villain. He's not developed. I understand kind of, just a little bit, why he did what he did, but I feel like the writers only went with that just to make the audience sympathize with Maleficent, because Maleficent has this title and this backstory, or the image. Maleficent has the image of being the villain, and instead they used Stefan as a pawn to make the audience forcefully feel more towards Maleficent in this story. Aurora, all she was there for was to smile, laugh, twirl, and then fall into a deep sleep. That's it. There was nothing there. That's all she was there for, was because Maleficent's story was based off of hers, and I felt like Aurora was gypped. Anyone could have played her. I love Elle Fanning, but with this character that did not show off Elle's talent as an actress. Philip, he literally comes out of nowhere, and he's only in 3 scenes of the movie, not even for that long. So his character was pretty much wasted. There was a slight twist at the end, and I understand that the writer and the director were making this their own and making a name for it on itself and not totally going by the Disney's fairy tale story. I understand that. I can respect that. However, the true love's kiss part, I'm on the fence about it. I'm more leaning towards that it did not work for me, and I don't want to spoil the end of the movie, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I understand what they were trying to do, but they completely betrayed the story. They try to make up for it at the end, but that just makes Philip have a scene 3 for 2 seconds, and that is not enough to make up for what they did. I'm on the fence about it because I liked what they were trying to do, but it just goes totally against the side of the story. I understand that they want to make Maleficent's side of the story stand out more and have reasonings, but to do that, you don't have to completely butcher Aurora's story as well. That simple. I think you guys will understand, for those who have seen the movie or who will see the movie. I think you'll understand what I mean by that. I hope so. Overall, I found myself very bored throughout this movie, which is a shame because I really, really wanted to like this movie. I was looking forward to it and everything, and I had high hopes for it, or I try not to have high hopes for it, but I did. As much as I liked Angelina in this role, I did not quite feel captivated by her. Usually there is a standout moment in a character's role that really grabs onto your heartstrings and just makes the character that much more likable through a big action or an outstanding monologue. Maleficent really did not have those monologues in her character. The only one that really stood out was during the christening of Aurora's. However, that monologue was spoiled because then they put the entire thing in the previews, so that definitely took away the big on-screen moment while watching the film. My favorite parts of the film include the shots, how Maleficent was framed behind the thorns, behind the trees, her silhouettes and shadows. Lana Del Rey's cover of Once Upon a Dream is probably my favorite thing from this film, and it's a plus side that it's the end credits song. So, for this movie, I am giving it a 2.5 out of 5. I really wanted to like this movie so much, but like Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland and Oz the Great and Powerful, it completely failed my expectations. Just a reminder, these are my opinions and everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Leave your suggestions and your thoughts of the movie below. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a magical day. Bye-bye.